Show such an odd video on how to how to make a Coca-Cola soda water fountain dispenser, whatever it is. Why would I mean, what is the point of showing a video like that? You might be thinking to yourself. Can anyone guess why I've showed this? What's the big deal?
Problem solving?
Problem solving. Well, maybe also, yeah. Well, this is the most popular how to make video on YouTube, believe it or not. Why would anyone be searching for that? I have no idea. But over 227 million views, people have watched this. So try to explain it. I don't really think there's any logical answer. Anyone could have anticipated that, but it does bring me to a few statistics that I'd just like to start with. And according to Google searches, how-to videos on YouTube are growing 70% year on year. So if years ago we all used to Google search to find out how to do stuff, now people are going on YouTube. I mean, they always were going on YouTube, so there's no doubt about that, but to such an extent that it is growing immensely. People are looking to solve problems on YouTube. So another statistic, Udemy's top 10 instructors have reached 17 million in earnings. So is everyone familiar with Udemy? No. So Udemy is probably I won't say the mother and father platform of online courses. Probably the most well-known one, where you basically can upload a course and Udemy has their own marketplace and they will sell it for you. They do take quite a big percentage from those sales, but it's probably one of the biggest, actually it is probably the biggest online platform at the moment for online courses. The global e-learning market is estimated to boom 275 billion by 2022. So the e-learning market are academic, the more academic colleges, universities, all to do with e-learning. So people that are basically looking to learn remotely, and people are opting in to basically taking that leap of faith and thinking, well, do I have to attend that university? Maybe I can't reach it, maybe I can't afford it, but they're opting into e-learning. And this is also in the corporate world, so corporate businesses are also buying into this model and creating a huge marketplace. So I guess what we can see from these statistics, and there won't be many statistics at all in this presentation, but what you will see is that there is a growing trend for e-learning online courses. People are purchasing them. They're realizing there's a bank of knowledge that you can tap into and learn new skills, completely new skill sets. So before I get started, I'll share a little bit about who I am and myself, and I'll start with video courses saved me. So literally, video courses saved me in my career. And a little bit about myself. So if you're not familiar, if you haven't met before, so my name is Jonathan Rose, and I've been freelancing as a videographer. Well, I was freelancing for around 18 years now, as an editor, videographer, producer, and I did this for a long time, freelancing for corporate businesses, so that would be creating promo videos for organizations like Orange, if you remember that, Nokia and stuff like that. And then I went on to broadcast, where I basically learned how to create promos, so promotional videos for TV shows, for MTV, Nickelodeon, and all that kind of stuff. And everything was going great, but there came a time when I literally I started to get burnt out. I started to hate what I was doing. And I'm not sure if you've ever experienced, I'm sure most people do, when you're in a job and you kind of come to that mindset you're not enjoying it anymore. And that's exactly what happened to me. And probably in hindsight, what I should have done is think about how I'm moving forward, but I literally couldn't take it anymore, and I decided to just simply stop. I thought, that's it, I want to be an employee, I want to get a job, wake up in the morning, and be a creative director, and no, I don't want to edit anymore, I don't want to film anymore, and just manage people. That's really what I wanted to do, and that's what I decided, and I started to look for work, but I couldn't find any work. It was really tricky. Sending CVs out and stuff like that, it wasn't really happening, and I was kind of getting a bit kind of, I suppose stressed is one way of putting it, but very stressed about the idea that there's actually no work. And it's really hard to kind of pass interviews, and this went on for quite a long time. I sent my CV to 200 jobs, I had 20 interviews, and the 21st interview I got the job I was really happy to get, and I was really pleased, and I started to work as a producer and also train people, apprentices in all of these broadcasters. However, 1 month later the company went bankrupt, and I lost my job and my only wage that I'd ever made as an employee, which was a bit of a bummer. But it really put me in a really bad situation. And what I did is I decided I wanted to start a company, do something slightly different, a social enterprise. And I started a social enterprise called Motion Fish Media Project, which is where I basically hire students and graduates to take on video roles for corporates or businesses looking to create videos. I match the two together, they get paid, I get paid, and the corporates get a high quality video. Except it was really hard to get started, like everything. And again, you kind of starting your own business is very tricky. And what happened was, it just took a lot of time. And things were getting really, really dire, as you can imagine. I hadn't worked for a long time and I just lost my wage, when all of a sudden I received an email from a company in France. And initially I thought this was one of these weird spam emails that you get. You know, it just didn't seem real. But they were looking for someone to create a video course. Now, I'd never created a video course, but I thought, you know, I'll give it a go. I'll see what happens. So I sent in a crazy proposal, thinking that the chances I'll get this are very slim. But lo and behold, they got back to me and said they are interested, but they're slightly nervous because some of the I had no idea how to create this proposal. It was my first one for a course, and they weren't quite sure if the numbers stack up and whatever. So I really wanted to convince them. So I told them what I'll do is I'll create, I think it was 5 video modules for them, and they will only pay half. If they like it, they can complete that payment and we'll do the rest of the videos. And they thankfully said yes. However, I haven't got a camera, I haven't even got an office, I haven't got a computer and editing software. I had absolutely really nothing. I had an office space, a hot desk in Ravensbourne College. But what I did is I basically did what I want to share with you guys, is I hired a young talented videographer graduate and another editor, really talented. I hired a video studio and we filmed there all the videos that we needed. They wanted a presenter, so I literally went online, found a website where you can create casting calls for actors, and we auditioned a number of actors for the video. And that was it, and we did that video, we sent it to the client. It was a little bit stressful, the first one. After we filmed it, I sent it to the editor edited it. Literally within 5 days the videos were ready for this video course, and I sent it to the client and they were happy, and they told me they would like me to basically go on to create another 140 modules and lessons and stuff for their business. And I continue to do this, and this is really what got me started in my business. So video courses really did save me. Yeah, so this is a Motion Fish Media project. I'll show you the video that we did for this corporate client. So just to give you an idea, we still work with them. So this is like 5 years ago. I still work with them. I've never actually met them. So I don't know who they are. I know that they're in the chemical industry. It's something very technical. Yeah, so this is an example of one of them.
Hi, I'm Alistair Greener. Welcome to Special Chem Tutorials. Today we will be talking about how to select the proper curing agent for use with your epoxy. The goal is to exploit the full performance of your epoxy in your particular application. This becomes very important as you investigate new uses for your epoxy, such as in high temperature composites.
Does anyone need any curing agents for epoxy?
If you have worked with epoxies before and you did not...
So, as you can see, Special Chem, our company, and we didn't understand a word we were actually filming. And to make it even worse, the presenter didn't understand a word he was actually saying. But we continued to create over 140 of these videos without understanding a single word, without seeing the client. We literally just did it, and they were happy, and we still do it today. So it seems to work. So I went on obviously to create lots of video courses. We created courses for small businesses, so we work at the London Jewellery School, and we've been creating for 3 years their courses. A few more corporates in London where we create their businesses, their video courses. So I guess a spectrum of clients from entrepreneurs, and we help them on all levels, so from the beginning to the end, and also produce their videos. So I guess today what I'd like to do is, I guess if you guys are aspiring to create an online course that sells or generates leads, or whatever your objective is, my goal today really is to share with you how this is totally achievable. So it is achievable.
Yeah, my eyes are extremely
Okay.
dry.
Very dry. Thank you.
So creating, so creating an online course is totally achievable. So you can create a course, even if it does seem complicated and the process might seem a little kind of long and tricky and it might seem expensive, but my job is to show you that you can create them low budget, you can market them, you can create them, and we've seen people create fantastic passive incomes from these courses. So just before I get into the kind of nuts and bolts, so how video courses can work for businesses. So there's lots of models and everyone has a different way of looking at it, but some people use video courses to sell. So when I say sell, I'm not talking about to sell the course, but to sell a product or service. So for example, you might have a product or you might have a concept and you want people to buy into that concept, but sharing a course on how to do something within your niche can really help generate confidence in that product or service. As an authority, so you can use a course to generate authority and credibility. So again, to build credibility for your process, for your service or product. You can use video courses or online courses to generate leads. So for example, I've got a little mini course on my website, and simply whoever buys into that course, so it's a free course, punches in their email, and I know they're my ideal client, so I can follow up with them and generate a list of potential clients that could be very, very handy for my future services. And the most popular way, and probably the one that you're probably most familiar with, is to generate revenue or passive income, if you like, where you actually sell the course. So you go out and you can decide how you want to do that based on your objectives, whether it's independently on a platform or through Udemy. So I'm going to show you my 4 steps process, which I use to basically how I start the course from beginning to end. And this is my 4-step process. That's it. So it might seem a little bit complicated, but it's really quite simple. There's content, creative, crew, and conversion. And this kind of goes in this order. So we start the content, go to the creative, recruit the crew, and then conversion is either leads or sales. And I'll start with content because content is really obviously the most important part of the course creation process. And what you need to think about is, what is the knowledge and experience I'm going to teach? So that might seem like, but that's so trivial, I'm here because I've got the knowledge and experience. But being able to focus and narrow it down so you know the scope of your course is really important, because understanding the scope will enable you to estimate whether it fits into 1 module, 2 modules, or whatever that might be. So that's really important to have an idea of where you're going with that. Is there demand for my content? So this is probably where a lot of people make a big mistake, is they don't check that there's demand for the content, and that will tie in a little bit later when you start doing the marketing. So there are tools and ways that you can research to check to see if when you start your course, when you publish your course, people will actually go for it. So they'll say, yeah, I want to sign up for this course. So that's really important. And then, does it fit? So when I say fit, I mean, does it work as an online course? I mean, some content or some experience or some courses don't always fit on an online platform. So for example, we have someone at the moment who's thinking of creating a photography course for people with classical cars. And he also wants to teach how to fix classical cars. So there's a whole thing where he needs to show the inside of an engine, and we're not quite sure if it will actually fit as an online course because it's just very broad at the moment. So that is something you need to do so you can just be confident when you start your journey that you don't get into a situation where, well, how do we film this, or how do I explain this, and you realize that you're kind of a bit in a muddle. And once you've got all these sorted out, and you know that you've you know your knowledge that you're going to share, you know there's people that are going to be interested in it, and it fits as an online course, then you will break down the content. So is anyone here familiar with Amy Porterfield and her online course? Anyone done her course?
I haven't done her course,
No.
but I'm on there.
Yeah, so she's got a system which she's kind of adopted, one that's kind of been out there. She calls it the Post-it, something to do with Post-its, Post-it module system. So this is very similar. We do it slightly differently. But basically, once you know what you want to teach, you need to break down the content so you have it organized and an outcome for your course. Title's important, obviously, and it can change the actual name, but the outcome is the most important, because the outcome is what your viewer or your student will end up with at the end of the process. And that's really important, that you bridge a gap of some sort. And that's why it's here at the top, because you have to always look at it and reference it, because really it's easy to kind of go on a tangent and then suddenly you find you've got like 20 modules and like, oh, one sec, what was the idea here? And this outcome normally is a problem that you're solving. So it's and then what you do is you break it down into modules. So module 1 might be a welcome module or introductory module, where you might say, for this course you're going to share the tools you need, PDFs and anything that you might need in the course, and a bit of an introduction, maybe a context of some sort. And then you'll break it down, sorry, this should be module 2, but this should be module 2 and 3, and then you'll break it down basically into step 1, step 2, step 3, the various steps. And then what you'll do, once you've got intro, step 1, step 2, step 3, you'll end with maybe a summary or a kind of conclusion module, and you'll break them down, each one, into lessons. So lesson 1 and 2, that's wrong, it should be 1 and 2, that's 1 and 2, apologies for those numbers not matching. But basically you break them down into lessons. And this is, again, a very important part, simply because you want your student to be able to take in what you're teaching. And I suppose here, you need your teaching skills. So how do you explain a complicated concept? How do you break down that information so people understand? And that is how you'll decide what's in each lesson. And one of the common questions I sometimes get is, well, how long should each lesson be? And that is really depends on the content you're delivering. So some content you can bulk it into a half-an-hour video, but generally it's better if you break it down into small nuggets, so small pieces of information. I'll just share with you a video for one of the courses we did for the London Jewellery School. So, is it going to play? So this is for photography course. So again, a bit of a challenge here, because always anything to do with photography and technical is always tricky, because it's just so broad. But here, because it's on jewellery, it's very niched. But this is a trailer that Jessica, who runs a jewellery school, created for her courses.
Learn how to take beautiful photographs of your jewellery with this comprehensive online course from Jewellers Academy. Join jeweller and photographer Karen Young as she guides you through the whole process on how to take professional images using a DSLR camera or your phone. We look at shooting jewellery on a white background, styling for lifestyle shots, creating flat lays and inspirational images for social media sharing, photographing your jewellery on a model, and much more. The course is 14 modules long, includes in-depth notes and diagrams to download, and covers from the complete basics through to techniques for more experienced jewellery photographers. Karen gives recommendation and advice on choosing cameras, lighting and equipment, and how to set up a small home studio space, as well as creative techniques for if you're shooting on a budget. This course is designed for jewellers to help you take photos that do your work proud, to help you promote and sell your jewellery. Sign up to get started straight away, and we look forward to welcoming you onto the course.
video was on, it is on YouTube. The Jewelers Academy has an extensive amount of courses, which we've created most of them. Different business models. Some courses are free, some are testers. She's also got a membership option as well, which is working extremely well. Just a note that sorry, my computer's just frozen. So just to note that part of the marketing process is you'll need to think about things like YouTube and well in advance if you have a audience, an email list and stuff like that. The Jewellery Academy has been going on for quite a long time, but there are strategies which I'll talk a little bit about, which basically I'll share with you later on. I'm just going to try to see if I can get this to work. Start. But I'll talk about so the next stage that we talk about, if I can get this to work, will do well, is delivery. So delivery is really, really important. And the idea behind delivery is, so once you've got your content and you've figured out what you want to do, how are you going to deliver it? And that's also very, very important, of course, because I suppose basically with delivery, the issue is who is going to present your video? Something you want to think of way in advance. Not everyone feels confident or comfortable presenting on video, so you might want to see if there's someone in your team that can do that. There are also different ways that you can present your content on video. Sometimes it's speaking just like Jessica does, not Jessica, but also Jessica, but also some of the jewellery school teachers, they talk directly to the camera. But there are other ways to go about it. So for example, you're all familiar with kind of the screen grab way of going about things, where you have a screen grab of a screen, which are probably less engaging than a talking head. So probably what we would do in that case is have a talking head where we would have somebody start the video talking and then go into the presentation. Another option would be you could have somebody in the screen at the bottom. So especially now in this day and age where everyone is so, I suppose we're all kind of, our attention spans are very, very, well, we don't watch things for too long, let's put it that way. So having a face really helps on your course. Even if it's a small face in the corner, you will increase your engagement. Obviously sometimes you might have things that are purely technical and you don't need to, but generally that's kind of where we'd go with things. Let's see if I can get this slide back on. Bear with me. Okay, so I'll start with this. So if you want to work with me, by the way, I'll just go over a few options very quickly. So Motion Fish Media Project is where we actually have a done for you service. So we will produce the videos for you. Video course mentoring is where I work with you to create a video course. And the video course creator workshop is my new thing, and that is where you will basically be able to implement, I'll teach you how to implement the things I'm talking about. And that is in 2 weeks' time on the 15th of November in London, Angel. So, let's see if it works. Cool, so back to the 4 steps. So I talked about delivery, and the steps in delivery is format style. So we talked about the different ways, and just to give you an idea of another way to present your content, and we do this quite often, and I'll show you an example. And what you could do is a Q&A. So that would be a situation where maybe you don't feel confident talking to camera, directly to camera, because it can be a little bit tricky. Can be a little bit daunting talking to camera, and something that you will, and what we do is we test beforehand. So if we have a client that says, oh, we want to create a video course and one of our colleagues is going to be presenting the course, we'll say, well, how are they presenting? And they'll say, well, they've been teaching for years. Yeah, but how are they on camera? So it's always worth sticking a camera, just any mobile phone, and just testing it out. Because we have had in the past where people have come and it's just taken a long time, and you know, time is precious. So having that person, or just having that confidence, is really important. Having said that, and I say cautiously, at the end of the day, if you're delivering content and you're clear, you don't have to be any like super presenter. So I don't want anyone to think that that will put you off. Here's an example for, well, this guy contacted me like, I think it was like 3 years ago, for an event he was doing in London. I think he's from Germany, and he says he's doing an online video course. I'm like, you do karate, how can you do an online video course? How does that work? But basically he's got like a whole bunch of crazy karate films, videos that he offers people on a weekly, monthly basis, and it's kind of not a traditional kind of. You might also have traditional karate lessons, but it's just tips and guides that he offers people on a daily basis, and he's doing extremely well with this program. And when he came to London, unfortunately I wasn't able to film because it clashed with another shoot we had, but he had an event, and all he did for that event is he got somebody to film it, and then he broke that up into 14 modules and so on and so on. I'll just give you a bit of a taster.
Is it possible to use kata in a real fight? Some people would say no. They say that you can't translate a predetermined movement pattern into the violent and highly unpredictable nature of a fight. But the old masters of karate beg to disagree. You see, today I want to share one ancient secret from Okinawa, the birthplace of karate, so that you can apply kata in a real fight. Check it out.
So that's pretty cool stuff. I mean, I was signed up for that when I saw him. I mean, he's very charismatic. He's got a great presence. Obviously, you know, if you've got that presence, then brilliant. But that's why sometimes people hire presenters. But in most cases, your authenticity and who you are comes across, and you don't need, you know, it is fine to be who you are. Nobody is, you know, we're not. Basically, if we were all good at presenting, we'd probably be presenting, but we're not. We're in the business to teach and educate. So I want to share another format with two people that weren't into doing that kind of front kind of style, and that is, this was for a corporate organisation, and they wanted to do a course about negotiating. So teach their teams how to negotiate. And the way we did it was a Q&A format.
Why do people negotiate? Why do people decide that they may wish to negotiate?
Okay, good question. People negotiate essentially because they feel they have to. It's the appropriate option for them in a situation. They negotiate because there's a need to negotiate.
Right.
So if there's a conflict,
Right.
could be quite severe, could be quite mild, but there's a difference of opinion, there's a conflict, negotiating is one method by which they would try and
Okay,
resolve that
so I might
conflict.
want something, the other side wants something different, and between us we have to find a way through that resolution. Is it the only way of solving conflict?
No, it's not. It's not even probably the preferred way of resolving conflict.
So that is another format for some people that prefer simply to deliver their teaching through a Q&A. And that can work for quite a lot of people. Does anyone have any questions before I move on about anything up till now? No? Cool. So after we've done the content and we've done the creative, and that is where we decide on the format and style, and we've tested it out, so we've checked to see that it works. The next part is crew, so it's actually creating the content, and this is where we will hire a videographer or an editor, or any technical team will need to create the content, and a lot of people here get this wrong. So a lot of people will do two things. Either they'll attempt to do it themselves, so they'll say, well, I'll film my own video course, and then typically you find it gets really, really complicated, so it's really hard to film yourself in general, depending on the content, but that can be tricky. But let's say you do get through that, then you have a problem with filming, editing. So editing can be a really timely process, and you will find that basically you're kind of tied up with all this footage, and it can get quite complicated. So what I do, and this is what I suggest to anyone that wants to create a video course on a budget, is to recruit graduates and students. So depending on the complexity, obviously if it's a bit more complex, I won't go for a student, I'd go for someone that's recently finished their studies. But a graduate is somebody who's finished their degree in video production, they're eager to work. A lot of times they don't have that experience, and they need real hands-on experience. And you can tap into that. Of course, you'll pay them fairly and so on. But by recruiting them, you're going to get a very high-quality video at a reduced price compared to, let's say, a video production company, where you will be looking at, and I'm not saying it's unfair or anything. I mean, that's just the cost of running a production company. But you're looking at much higher prices. So if you've got higher budgets, then definitely go for a production company. If you've got lower budgets, then you could go into hiring graduates. I will say, yep.
No, what is the fair fee for a graduate?
That's such a tricky question.
I know. That's what I'm asking you. No, it's an question.
Well, it depends. It depends. I mean, it's I'd say 120 or 1 day would be fair, and it really depends on the person, and it depends on how many hours you're working with them. But definitely make sure that they're happy with it, and you're happy with it.
That's assuming they bring their own equipment.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of the time they will bring their own equipment. So it really depends on who you're working with, and this is kind of part of the process. I will say that it's really important to qualify the graduates and the students. So you don't want to just take anyone, and this is again where you've got to be cautious. And I'll be honest, when I started out, because I actually, that is kind of my business model at Motion Fish, is we hire graduates. We have to vet everyone to make sure that they've got the talent, they've got the right attitude, they're professional, and they can turn up on time. So these are really important things, and we go through kind of a bit of a process to figure out who we're working with to make sure that they can deliver. That's a crucial part. And then what we do is we have kind of we work with, and this is what I talk about, but a course profitability formula. So that is where you will figure out how much I should charge based on how much it's going to cost me. So I put in how much it's going to...
Are we passed to the next page?
No, we're still here.
Oh, we're still
We're still here. We're in the crew. So within the crew, we'll work out how much to budget for that crew, how much is it going to cost us to produce that video. So we'll have a 1 day shoot, and we'll film 12 videos in that shoot, and then we'll send it to an editor. to edit it, and we'll work out how much that costs and figure out, well, if we charge £47, then we need to sell 4 courses and that's it, we've covered our costs. And that also will come into platform, which I'll talk about a little bit later.
So just a question, the
Yeah.
videographer, what is his main task? To film
So,
and edit?
Okay, so there are a
Both,
few
or-
kind of hats, and I'll just clarify. So there are a few options that you can go with. So a videographer can technically film and edit your video. The same person, you can get the same person who's talented enough, he has his own camera or she has her own camera kit, and maybe some lighting, or they might ask you to bring some lighting, but they can film and edit. Now, sometimes the videographer will say, well, I only film, that's what I'm good at. Fair enough, you can bring on board an editor. So I've worked with local editors, but now it's very popular, and if you look at all the kind of big marketing gurus, when they create their courses, they're like kind of you know, spitting them out really quickly, and what they're doing is they've got their local videographer and then they're outsourcing their editing abroad, which is also an option. So there are websites that you can use to outsource your editing. So that's another option. I've used it a few times, but generally I prefer, because of the nature of my work, to work locally, and why not? It makes things much easier. That's definitely something to think about. And then pricing. So I did mention that you consider how much it's going to cost you related to how much you're going to charge for your course. So I will cautiously say that that you still have to think about the value that you guys are offering. So it's not simply a mathematical formula as, okay, this is how much it's going to cost me, all I need is, you know, if you're offering a lot of value in a market that wants your expertise and wants that knowledge, then obviously you're going to rethink that price point. Once we've worked out the formula for how much it's going to all cost us, and we've budgeted, we've hired the crew, they filmed it, the editor has emailed us, so everything is done remotely, so even I don't actually meet up with the editor, even if it's in the UK, they send us the video. Then what we do is our missing platform to promotion. So that is basically the conversion. We think about the platform we're going to upload the video to. So where are we going to host this video? So years ago, before there were kind of platforms, courses were pretty primitive. So you'd have to upload it to unlisted on YouTube or something like that and send people links. But there are endless platforms available right now online. So if you want to upload your video to a platform, and platform is quite a big topic to talk about, but there are free ones which are really basic, and there are more complicated ones which help you with your marketing. So I'll give you 2 examples. So Kajabi is a very popular platform at the moment. Kajabi is it's relatively expensive, so it's at the high end of the video courses, but it has a platform which also enables you to create a landing page. So you've got within that system a landing page, and it has all kinds of other functionalities so that you can create your funnel. Okay. Now, a platform which is much easier to use and probably very simple, but still good, where you can upload your courses, your PDFs, and is free, is one called CourseCraft. So CourseCraft is one that I've used, and it's very friendly, and also the advantage of that one is basically you can upload content, and they offer you, I think for the first 100 people that you get signed up, it's for free. So you can test it out without kind of committing to any big fees. And then once you've got your platform, and also I'll just mention one last thing about the platform, is obviously if you're selling your course, okay, they will take a fee from you. So it's a percentage, and each platform is different, and so on. Actually, I'll add a little bit more to platforms, because there is that platform which I mentioned earlier, which is Udemy. So a lot of times people think, I'm going to create a course, I'm going to put it on Udemy, and that is how I'm going to make my profits. But just to give you a heads up about Udemy, So Udemy are great at marketing your course. So they do it for you in essence, really, and that's why they're so popular, because it can be challenging to market a video course. The problem with Udemy, or should I say not the problem, it's the issue with Udemy, is they will take 50% cut from your sales if they market it and you get sales through their marketing. So that's something to think about. You can also market it independently and you will gain profits from it, but it's a different business model and something that you should be thinking about. And then obviously the next stage is the
I've heard quite a few people using the Teachable.
Oh yeah, Teachable is another good one. So Teachable, I mean, I think there are, I've been told there's over 100 platforms, but yeah, Teachable is another popular one.
What I've heard about.
So Teachable is definitely another good platform which is really popular. I'm pretty sure they've also got a free option as well where you can try it out. And Teachable also have kind of landing pages and stuff like that. And they're normally monthly membership fees where you pay for them. And the next stage is the marketing. And marketing is one of the key things that people kind of struggle with. How do I, I've created this course, how do I get people to view it? And there are endless marketing strategies which you can use to get people. I'll give you one example which we've just seen. So Jewellery School offers a few free courses on YouTube. They have an audience, and then basically whoever wants more, they can channel them to their course. But I will say in advance that before they upload their courses, before also Jessie does the same, Class with Jessie, they know what content is in demand. So they'll create a video that they know will generate views. So you look to find out what people are searching for, you'll create that video, and then you'll channel that video to your course, basically where people will then opt in your course, or they'll purchase it. So having that YouTube channel, it doesn't have to be YouTube, it could be something else, but having that audience in advance is great, or you might need to build it. But that's just one strategy. There are endless strategies you can use to generate those courses. So once you've got the promotion sorted out in version, then it's just a matter of sending out emails or doing whatever you think. So that's kind of in a nutshell the overall kind of system I use to create videos. I know it's slightly a bit overwhelming.
What's the conversion that could be achieved from it? Oh, I know it's really a very broad question and it all depends, but do you know what would be a good conversion rate?
It's hard to tell. I won't be able to give you a number.
Well, not one number, but a range. What do you think?
I don't have kind of any heavy data to tell you that if you achieve this, it's good. It really depends on your niche. It depends on the type of course. It depends if you're asking people to opt in. It depends on your price for the course. It really does vary. So I'm not aware of any statistic that I've heard of. But yeah, no, it's a good question. Anyone else got any questions? Cool. So I just mentioned that obviously I tried to fit in everything within this kind of time slot. But if you do want to take this a step forward and implement any of this stuff, so I do offer a workshop which I'm doing in 2 weeks' time. So if it's cool with you, I'll share with you 5 minutes of what I have on offer. Is that cool? Yeah. Yeah.
Quick question on the second creative stage test. Can you remind me what test is after you?
Yeah, so test is when we would basically test out to see the format that we're using. So if someone will just test it out. Yeah.
Would you have a review stage with the client when you create a course, you film it, and then have some kind of approval process?
Yeah, of course.
And sort of somewhere there, I would say, so they'll have approval, then you upload it to different platforms. Is that
Yeah,
how
so you would
usually
review
works?
it, definitely. You
Yeah.
definitely review it at certain stages. I'll take on more questions. I'll just go a little bit about what I'm offering. So it's a video course where basically if you want to implement any of the stuff that I talked about, so just to give you an idea of where it kind of came from. So obviously I've been doing courses for a long time, and I guess I guess I had a lot of people approach me and say they want to do a course, but when I sent them a proposal for the video production, they didn't realise how much of a financial commitment it was. And a lot of people that found it kind of overwhelming, the process and just the general kind of marketing and all that stuff. And I felt that I really wanted to do something to help people like that. So I created a video course creator workshop. And basically what I'll do is I'll cover the stuff in the course about what I spoke about earlier on, except it'll be a bit more hands-on, and how to identify your content and your target market. So what content people are actually looking for. So we'll work a little bit about the tools that you can search online to see if in general your content is in demand. So maybe people aren't looking for what you're offering. How to structure and create the learning modules. So this is a good recap. How to create those modules that that we talked about earlier on, and how do we break down that information, and we'll be doing some practical stuff. How to source and recruit talented videographers and editors. So I'll be going over what I use, basically the kind of terms and conditions I use to work with videographers, so that you can go out and hire your videographer. And again, the idea is that you find someone that you work with and they can be good for everything. So also editors. Once you have someone you trust, you simply work with them for a long time. This is what everyone does. Very valuable. So an overview a bit more of what we talked about, the platforms, and proven methods to drive viewers to your online course. So this is going to be how to get people to opt into your course. So different strategies basically. How to plan and budget your video creation process so it runs without a bit. So the idea here is that once you understand the process, you can recreate additional units and additional modules. So a lot of times people invest in a course and it goes okay, but then they have to build another course and again create another course. So video courses are ongoing. So once you get quite a few, you can create a membership where you offer somebody a yearly fee to access all the courses. The best format to deliver your content, so that's along the lines of which is the best way that works for you, and we'll be testing a few to see how it's best to deliver what you want to teach. Where to find a bunch of online tools to help you easily create animated logos, opening sequences, and superimposed name titles. So obviously I couldn't go into this in too much details, but if you want a bit more of a professional look for your video, there are easy ways to go online and just create those openings and those titles that you saw that make it, just gives it that kind of professional edge that you might be looking for. And then marketing strategies, so different ways you can use and implement in your course to generate sales or leads. And of course I'll be giving you all my time-saving templates, scripts, storyboards, contracts, budgets, so you can produce fast, effective videos that convert. So basically all the stuff I've been doing, all of what I've been doing for 4 years really, so I'm just sharing all my knowledge and helping other people. So it's a workshop and there are 10 slots available. So it's a relatively small workshop. I'm offering today an early bird, half price. I've only got 4 slots available. So if you are interested, all you need to do is email this email address, and then I've got an autoresponder with a link to the Eventbrite where you can click and go to it. So it's on the 15th of November from 9:30 to 5:30 p.m. So does anyone have any other questions about the workshop or about in general about video courses that can help you?
You have other tutors. One is you produce video, so others one is working with the business owner. What are the rough price range for that?
So I suppose the working with is something I'd need to speak to you about, but it would be a 3-month mentorship where I would help you recruit videographers. I'd help work with you. We'd do it through email and possibly maybe meet on a video shoot. At the moment we're looking at probably around $750 for that. But actually, if you email this link, you can also, I mean that's my email address as well, but there's also an option to book a conversation, online appointment with me as well, so happy to take that on board. Yeah.
What should you on free?
Green screens, that's a good question. So, green screens, they can work well. They can work well. If they're, it depends. I mean, if it's done properly and you tested it out, so again, it would be something that I would test in advance, then you can do green screens. So, some of the things we talk about, and I'll mention also in the workshop, I'll mention also here, is where do you film your video course? So where do you, what's the background that you have? So that's really important. I'll make sure that it looks professional, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in the workshop, but generally there are different ways. Green screen is definitely an option. The thing with green screen is it has to be tested first. Because the worst, I mean not the worst, but it can be that you film your green screen and then it hasn't cut properly when you get to the editing. And then you're kind of stuck with this screen which doesn't look too good. So that's really, really important. But it can work definitely. Any other questions about video courses? Has anyone created a video course or anyone thinking? So you guys have done it?
Yeah, thinking, but not at the stage of knowing what. Yeah.
And are there any particular challenges that you might face?
Really technical stuff at the moment. That's quite out. We've done some that filmed with a proper video process, yeah, and some that we just did with webcam. Which is
yeah,
the resolution.
Yeah. There are definitely technical issues.
But we've got a lot of videos to do, so yeah. Working out how we go to the green screen.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, the technical part is part of it, and it can seem a little bit overwhelming, but definitely something that can be overcome.
We've got all the software and stuff. So
Oh no, I'm just wondering, why aren't you doing an online course and how to do online courses?
I've done an online course. I use it to generate leads, so it works well for me for what I'm doing right now. So what I've got at the moment is I've got a video course on my website, and then people come to my website, they want to know about digital marketing, and they opt in and they view the course, and then I kind of follow that up. I really am I do believe video courses can work in they can work really well, and every business model. So a lot of people go for, I've got to make money out of it, but you know what, if you can generate leads from a video course, and then it can.
And do you find that once you've got your leads, then you still need a face-to-face element to complete the sale?
A face element? What do you mean?
Face-to-face element.
Not
it can happen all online.
We don't. It depends on what you're offering. Some people can make that leap of faith. So, for example, when I worked with that client in France, I was convinced at the time, I didn't think anyone would want me to create such a volume of work without meeting me face to face. So I think you don't need to meet. It depends again on how much credibility you build and authority, and sometimes you might need a conversation on the phone, and sometimes I've had clients who have they've actually not wanted to speak to me. They wanted to do it online, and we go and film something for them. So I've got a quick feedback form which I'd really appreciate if you just fill out. It would be very, very helpful. It should take you 2 minutes, and if you've got any further questions, you can pass that down.
Can I ask about graphics in
Sure.
videos? So we've made some courses for some universities.
Yeah.
I spent quite a lot of time on the graphics angle. But the effectiveness of doing After Effects graphics, let's say, over just having a standard PowerPoint slide in.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got to look at the look and the creative and how you can do it, but does it have a big impact on viewer, how do we look at the data, but how viewers interact with the content? Does it
As opposed to PowerPoint, so instead of PowerPoint you've got...
Well, say for example, you could take your basic could be a little video in the corner with a PowerPoint basic look. You could do what you did with the white infinity screen with graphics floating in space.
Yeah.
So then you can start to design graphs and animate graphs. You can go quite a long way down the graphics route.
Yeah.
So it's really, does it make a massive impact to the user at the end? Because really they want the information. So making it look nice has something to do with brand.
I personally, my opinion is no, it doesn't make a big difference. I think that those people have opted into the course already. They're going to want the content. They don't need any pens. Let me know. They're going to want just pass the pen down there. So people are going to people are definitely going to want the content and the graphics. where graphics will be something that's very dry and difficult. So two options. When it's a concept that's difficult to understand, graphics are great in breaking that down. And if you've got something that might be a little bit boring and you want to make it a little bit more entertaining, you might get some retention. It depends on your objective. If you've got people that have to complete the course or people that want to complete the course. So it depends who your target audience is.
Yeah, so that goes for animation as well, because animation can be quite a good tool to explain videos, but compared to talking head idea, it depends what you're doing is technical and
exactly.
animation is more
Exactly. So different learning styles. Some people are learning up. We've done videos now. I find it's really quite useful to have an annotation of key points, just to very quick touch up something that might be mentioned, but maybe it doesn't make any difference.
It's quite a common thing is to think about that animation. Animation is extremely expensive and time consuming.
the time consuming part, isn't it? We do it in house, but it's
So it's
time consuming. Production company that does some of these things.
But I would always say face in most cases. Again, it depends on the content. Is always a lot more engaging. But if you have people that they have to do this course for a certain reason, or in education or e-learning, that's where animation will keep them engaged. But if it's a course online, so for like jewellery or judo, people are signing up to get to get that content, and they don't care how you present it. So different ways to go about it. Any other questions, thoughts? Yeah.
Are there any big differences between making a video for like e-learning platforms, which are in-house, versus YouTube or Udemy? So is there any difference in the format or the production?
So you're talking about doing videos
for e-learning platforms in companies. So like big corporations could have their own platforms and they commission you to produce 20 platforms that only, so is there any difference in the approach?
in students to do